First of all, welcome everyone. Happy New Year. It's always good to see you guys at CES. Yeah, I love CES. I love CES. You know, partly we're here to do our job. Partly we're here to shop, right?
Oh.
What's the next TV you're going to get? You know, that kind of stuff. And so it's fun to be here. This year we announced several products that we've been working on for some time. And during the press conference, I talked about how we're going to change the way people can enjoy video games. You know that Nvidia is a computer graphics company. We're a visual computing company. And our strategy is to bring our capabilities, our visual computing capabilities, to as many platforms and devices as possible, and to allow end users to enjoy great computer graphics on as many devices as possible. We make chips for some devices, and but we would like to find a way to create beautiful graphics for all devices, even devices we're not in. And so we talked about three things. Computer graphics, we talked about allowing people to enjoy great computer graphics anywhere and on any device. And so if that's your goal and that's your strategy, then the question is, how do you make it all possible? And so, of course, the number one thing is you have to create beautiful computer graphics technology. So the processors, GeForce, the processors, Tegra, really important strategy for our company. And so we continue to advance that art. During the press conference, I announced Tegra 4. Tegra 4 will undoubtedly be the most high-performance mobile processor of this generation. And so I'm very proud of it. Tegra 4 also has a new capability that I think was very surprising to everybody. And this capability is always-on HDR. You never have to think about whether to turn on HDR anymore. Instead of taking, and you guys all with all of your cameras, you know that exposure is a very complicated problem, especially outside. Especially when you want to take something beautiful outside. And when I was traveling over the holidays, last summer, and I was in Europe, almost every shot I wanted to take was an impossible shot. And the reason for that is because we're either standing outside the Colosseum in Rome and it's bright sunlight, or we're walking the streets of Paris and it's around 2 o'clock. It's not possible to take a good shot, especially with your phone. And so everything I did was in HDR. And HDR today, as you know, is done in two ways. It's done by taking two shots, overexposed, underexposed. And then the computer, the smartphone, register, align, warps the image if necessary, fuses the two images, and then does image processing, and then through very fancy algorithms, tone map, shift each one of the areas of brightness and darkness to combine into a logical, beautiful picture. That entire process is completely computational. We call that computational photography. Well, Tegra 4 has a new capability which allows us to take two simultaneous shots, a double shot at one time. And so the two shots are overexposed, underexposed. And then we use our GPU to very, very quickly fuse and tone map the image process and tone map the image. As a result, we can take, in the same time, as one shot, an HDR shot, which means you can now have flash. HDR doesn't know how to flash because you don't know which one to flash, and flashes can't move that fast. Okay. On the other hand, we can also have, so we could have burst, we can have flash, we can do HDR for video. You can keep HDR on all the time, take your one shot, always HDR. And so I think that that was quite a revolution. The ability to create an architecture that will support computational photography natively in the processor, I think was a great breakthrough. That's one of the great features of Tegra 4, and that's how we can also use all of the capabilities inside this processor. A lot of people ask me, you know, how can you make a smartphone faster? Because Galaxy S3 is already so fast. Galaxy S3 is fast. However, by introducing new capabilities like photography, I think that we can make much, much more magical devices. And in order to do that, we have to deliver the performance necessary to make it possible. So that's Tegra 4, the processor. We also if we wanted to help people enjoy great graphics on any device, the real way of doing that ultimately is through the cloud. We know that we can now enjoy music on any device and video on any device, but you can't enjoy computer graphics on any device. Rich graphics is really not possible in the cloud, and the reason for that is because 3D graphics is a unique digital medium. Music is pre-recorded. Movie is pre-recorded. A magazine is pre-recorded. A book is pre-recorded. All we are doing is playing it back. All we're doing is playing it back. 3D graphics is interactive, which means that every single frame is computed from the beginning. And that's why every single frame looks different than the last frame. And that's why it's interactive. You also have to, of course, do it so fast. The latency of computing that frame has to be done so fast by the GPU that you feel like you're controlling the environment. You have to feel like you're controlling the environment. And so I think that every frame is computed from the beginning, from scratch. It has to be done so fast. From the mouse or the button to the response in your eye has to be done so fast you feel like you're in control. That's a computer graphics is a digital medium like no other medium in the world, and that's why cloud computing has been possible for everything now except for computer graphics. And so someone has to go and invent the technology. The processor, the system, the software, the connection, which is a piece of software, streaming connection, and all the way to the receiver. Somebody had to go and invent the technology and put all of the pieces together to make it possible. Well, who would do it aside from the world's largest computer graphics company? It doesn't make sense for anyone else to do it. And so I think we decided that this is a problem that we can tackle from the bottom all the way to the end, from end to end. And so this at CES we announced our Grid server appliance. It's a GPU server appliance. Inside the Grid is the Kepler GPU, which has a feature for streaming its graphics instead of connecting to a digital display. It also has the ability to be very, very dense and support many users at one time. And it has the ability, of course, with all of the system software, hypervisors, GPU hypervisors, connection brokers, okay, to connect with the end user, to make a connection for the end user so that they can have essentially a graphics computer inside the server. and then to stream the results to the end user. And so this is our first fully integrated product. This is NVIDIA's first fully integrated product. We designed everything from the ground up, and everything from chip to system to software, it comes like an appliance. Think of Grid for computer graphics, the way to think about network attached storage for NetApp. It is not a general purpose computer. It makes no sense for HP or Dell to make this device. This is a dedicated device for streaming computer graphics such as video games. Okay? And so that's an appliance. And then lastly, now that we have the device in the cloud, we also wanted to help you enjoy games, whether you're using a Tegra phone, Tegra tablet, a GeForce PC. But if you enjoy games on these two devices, these two platforms, but would like to have the ability to enjoy those games in a very specialized device, we introduced a new product called Shield. And let me show it to you. On a big camera, of course, Shield looks very big, but Shield is quite small. Shield is the same volume. Shield is an Android digital device, Android device. And this device is designed for gaming. And this is our first prototype, so excuse the clumsiness. It's designed for gaming. It's an Android device, and it's pure Android, which means everything on your phone, if you're using Android, everything on your phone, everything on your tablet, whether it's your music or your movies or your books or your photographs, if it's in the cloud, the day you bring this home, you turn it on, it's all here. It's not like a game console in the sense that the game console is dedicated for gaming, of course, but it's proprietary. It's a closed system. And when you bring that game console home, the game console needs a new game. In this particular device, like a PC, like an Android device, when you bring it home, you have the benefit of enjoying all of the content that you have in your life. Okay? And so this is a Android gaming device. It is open. It is pure Android. And as a result, the business model of the games you could enjoy, are free or very affordable or all the way up to premium games. We think that the future, we're not trying to build a game console. Think of this like the easiest way to think about Shield, although it looks like a game console. It's a gaming device. And we built Shield because we thought that when you have an Android digital life, if you want to enjoy magazines and books, you get a Nexus 7. This is a device just like it's pure Android, but it's dedicated really not for making phone calls, but to enjoy books and magazines and movies. And if you had an Android life and now you wanted to play games, you could play games on the phone, just like you could read on the phone. You could play on the tablet, just like you can read on the tablet. But now you also have a device that is optimized for gaming. And so we see this as an extension of the devices that you already have. I think that in the future, there will be Android cameras, of course. Many have been announced. There will be Android refrigerators. There will be Android dishwashers. And they will be all connected to the cloud. They will be all connected to the cloud. Okay? And so this is an Android gaming device, and it's connected to the cloud. It's connected to your Android life. And it's an open platform for gaming. I think that The unique capability that we can provide is also to solve a problem that no one else really can solve. And that is, we believe, if you're an Android gamer, you're probably a PC gamer too. If you're an Android gamer, you're probably a PC gamer too. And most of our PC gamers tend to be Android device users. We felt that we could create a device that allows them to enjoy cloud games in the grid, Android games in TegraZone, but also enjoy remotely their PC games that they've purchased on their PC. And so if you have Steam games on the PC, you can now stream to Shield using the same server architecture as Grid. We placed it in the PC so that you can enjoy PC games on Shield. Now, we didn't demonstrate this earlier, and we're still working on it, but the logical question then says, well, why can't I put that server also on Shield? Why does Shield only have to be a receiver? Why can't Shield be a server? The answer, of course, it can be. TVs are going to be smart, and there are game consoles, digital devices, set-top boxes. You can now stream from Shield to a smart connected television. As a result, you can now play games on every screen. Those pixels could be on your PC, they could be on your Shield, it could be on a tablet, it could be on TVs. And you should be able to do this anywhere. Okay, so that's our vision, and this is a very important device that connects for us all of the pieces of our strategy. So I showed a schematic of our vision, if you will, as the last slide of my talk. And there's a Shield device in the center, there's Grid, there's PC, and there's television. And I think with that, if we could be successful in making all of this possible, we could make, finally, computer graphics be enjoyed in the same way that music and video is enjoyed. Okay? So that's what we talked about at the show, and the enthusiasm has been, quite frankly, a little bit surprising. I expected people to be curious, but you know, sometimes when you build something very, very new, you don't know how people will receive it. We built it because we think, frankly, there are so many gamers at Nvidia. We built it because we think it makes sense, and so it's just really nice to see that everybody's quite enthusiastic about it. Okay, so can I answer any questions?
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with you on the strength of the project Shield in an open platform. So because the current gaming platform business model, as you said, closed and dedicated model, high price development key. So do you think future gaming business model will shift from the current dedicated closed model to a totally open business model, like you showed us in the concept of Shield?
Mm-hmm. If you remember, if you go back and think about why the game console market evolved the way it did, a long time ago, about 25 years ago, the game console industry, the gaming industry, moved to 3D graphics.
Yes.
At the time, no PC in the world, no general purpose consumer computer in the world can provide 3D graphics. And so a company who wants to provide this entertainment to you has to invent a brand new computer, and it was very expensive. In the case of PlayStation 2, it probably was $2 billion to create the processors, develop the operating system, create the system, right? get developers, help developers understand how to program this very complicated emotion engine, right? And so the creation of this console, this computer, was necessary because otherwise the games cannot run anywhere.
Yeah.
And so at the time, game console market was about 10 million per year. And a 3D graphics PC was 0 million per year. Today, fast forward 25 years, the number of game consoles capable of 3D graphics entertainment is 10 million per year.
Mm-hmm.
The number of general purpose computing devices capable of good 3D graphics is 1 billion per year. Do you see the difference? As a result, there is no reason to invest billions of dollars to create a game console that is superior in capability than a computing device. It is also not possible to only spend $1 billion to create a computer that is better than the R&D budget of 1 billion computers per year. Did you understand that? It is not possible to do PlayStation 2 anymore. PlayStation 2's performance was 100 times more powerful than a PC at the time. How can you create something 100 times more powerful than GeForce GTX 680? If it's possible, Nvidia should do it, right? Okay, not possible. Not possible.
Yeah.
Okay, and so now if there is no reason to create a new architecture, and it's not possible to deliver better performance,
Yeah.
then why do you need to subsidize the console? You have so many you can run already. Why do you need to subsidize? All of these devices are free, in fact. You already own it. You already own it. The reason why PC gaming is so vibrant is you already own it. You use it for other things. And so it's hard to compete against free. Powerful, it's free. And then lastly, for game developers, they don't have to pay royalties on consoles when they can sell on an installed base of hundreds of millions. Installed base of hundreds of millions. And so the business model changed. Here, they have an installed base that's very small, so the price has to be very high. Here, the installed base is huge, so the price can be low. Again, the consumer wins. Instead of 100,000 gamers paying for a game, now 100 million gamers can share the price, the cost together, and therefore price can be very low. If it's a general purpose device, you can also use new business models. If it's an open platform, you can use new business models, like free to play, virtual goods. Again, the consumer wins. You can try new games without taking a $40, $60 risk, which is very challenging. I still think that the game console market will be here, and there'll be very, very, very special experiences. You know, like Microsoft Connect is a very special experience. It's not easy to do that on a phone. It's not easy to do that even on Shield. And so I think they're going to have to create even more special experiences like Connect. And they're, you know, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft are very, very, very clever companies and very inventive companies. I think they'll come up with new ways. But on a fundamental level, you can see that open platforms is likely going to be very important for the future of gaming. And it is. That's why it's growing so fast. Yes.
I have a question on Tegra 4. you didn't announce any design wins. So maybe something on that. It's not CUDA compatible, so you push CUDA everywhere, and Tegra was the only basic chip that has not supported CUDA. So why is that? Last question is about this. Now it seems to be a two-horse race between you and Qualcomm. Qualcomm has advantage of one chip solution with LTE and everything. How do you see that evolve?
Well, this Tegra 4 is just announced, and it's sampling. And so it's too early to announce design wins. Customers have to build their devices, and but rest assured that Tegra 4 is more successful than Tegra 3. And our position in the marketplace is improving because every year we become better at it. And so last year, at this time last year, Nvidia's Tegra business was much smaller than it is today. And so the business is larger. Our penetration into different parts of the market has increased. China was an important focus for us last year. Today we have China, and we're in China working with China manufacturers. Last year we talked about WinRT. This year we're shipping WinRT. And I think WinRT will continue to be very important to the industry. And it's hard to imagine Windows not running on the world's highest volume microprocessor. And so Windows running on ARM must be very, very important to Microsoft and to the industry. And so I think that this is a very important area, and we're doing very well in WinRT. And then, of course, when we think about Tegra, we think Tegra is a mobile processor, but Tegra is a mobile processor for everything that Nvidia does. Tegra is used for tablets. Tegra is used for PCs like WinRT. Tegra is used for cars. Our car business is really growing nicely. And Tegra is used for gaming, like Shield. And so Tegra is very, very important part of Nvidia's overall strategies beyond just mobile. Now, in mobile, in cell phones specifically, this last year we made progress, very significant progress in China. However, for the rest of the world, in order for us to be more successful, we have to have a 4G LTE modem. Every country now is moving towards 4G LTE. And until we could get our modem developed, it will be hard for us to see penetration beyond China. China, as you know, is very fragmented. LTE is not here for some time, and there's a lot of different standards. But outside of China, LTE is very important. And so at CES this year, we made a very important step. We announced our 4G LTE modem, and we're now sampling our 4G LTE modem. The modem that we're using, that we sampled, is based on a software-defined radio architecture. And it was created by a company called Icera that we bought 18 months ago. Now Icera has their 3G modem. Their 3G modem has been certified in 52 countries and 92 carriers. And so this is a company that has very extensive expertise and experience and success in modems. We just had to bring that capability to 4G. And finally, at CES, we announced it, and we're now sampling. And so I think last year, from one year to another year, we made a lot of progress. Now, you asked a question about the single chip. We have processors where the application processor and the modem are separate. We also have application processors that are integrated. there is a Tegra 4 plus 4G LTE processor that we have on our roadmap. The code name of that project is Gray, and Gray is intended to be sampled fairly soon. So I'm looking forward to the single chip processor.
Just so you know, we have about
Oh,
15 more
CUDA.
minutes left. So
CUDA will come to mobile processors when we're able to put that capability in the chip. Because CUDA requires a lot of computation. And electronically, it's a lot more transistors than just OpenGL. And so we want to bring CUDA to the chip only when CUDA can add value. And so, which I think is soon. I would like to see CUDA in Tegra as soon as possible.
Can I ask you about life cycle gaming device from Nvidia? How you see that? It will be 1-2 years, or it will be changed according to new generation of Tegra?
We will have a new Tegra every year, which means that it makes sense to have a new Shield every year.
So another question, in smartphone space,
And you probably recognize this, but you know, one of the benefits of the open platform approach is that when you buy Shield 3, for example, I make one every year, but a consumer maybe upgrades one every other year. Okay? You go from Shield 1 to Shield 3. When you bring Shield 3 home, you turn it on, you type in your email address, everything showed up. And it all works. It all works, kind of like magic. You can't do that, of course, on a dedicated game console.
when we're talking about success of Tegra, it's more in tablet space, not in smartphone previous year, because in smartphone you're not so on display with new products. Only HTC produce some flagship models. So it will be changed this or next year, because nowadays it's more big brands from China which producing based on Tegra. And in some way it's not good up to me to Nvidia brand, because quality sometimes is not of the current level as previous products.
Well, I would like to be more successful in phones. And I would like to be more successful in all models of phones, whether it's HTC or LG or anybody, Sony or... But we need to have a 4G LTE modem. We need to have a modem in order to succeed in phones. And so we've been investing in building our modem, and I'm really quite excited about sampling our 4G modem. And so this is a big step forward for us, and I would like to see if we could be more successful in phones. But in China, you're right. China doesn't need 4G LTE, and that's a wonderful market opportunity for us. We were the first quad-core in China, and you could see phones coming soon from us, or from our partners in China. And of course, Tegra 4 is the highest performance processor, the fastest processor for mobile. And you're going to be delighted by some of the phones that will come from China.
Gentleman to your left.
I'd like to ask two questions.
I'm sorry, there was a fellow who was waiting.
Speaking of grid, there's already been the online service.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you compare? How are you going to offer something better? And also, will you be doing the selling of the service, or will you use another company for that?
OnLive in the back end is also NVIDIA's technology,
Okay.
and I'm delighted by OnLive. Gaikai also had a service. The fundamental problem that we learned in working with both of them is scalability and density is not possible unless we can create a new architecture like Grid. The number of users, concurrent users per server, is 1 for OnLive. It's 2 for Gaikai. It's 24 for Grid. We reduced the cost. Improved the quality by a factor of 20 over the first generation in just 1 year. And so the benefit, of course, is if the cost is low, the service can be low. Think about it this way. If the cost of Netflix, for Netflix to stream the video to you, was increased by 20 times, then instead of $8 per month, it will be $160 per month, which will result in exactly 0 customers, right? Or maybe 1. I would still use it just to see, but for 2 or 3 months. But you see that it is vital for us to get the density up, scalability up, and the cost way down per stream. They call it CCUs. Okay. So that's, you had another question?
So that was about how are you going to sell the service?
Oh, we're going to partner with a whole bunch of international companies because everybody's service in different companies will be very different. And you're going to see the service from web services like, for example, Amazon. It would be a good way for them to extend music, video, now games. You could see it from cable companies, ESPN, HBO, and then a gaming service. You could see it also for telcos, so that they could give you a small application on your phone that you can enjoy games that they can stream to you, and that you can pay maybe $7 a month, $8 a month. And so because there's such a diverse range internationally of the way that the service will be deployed, we've decided that what we will do is sell the appliance, provide the entire software stack on top, and we'll partner with everyone to help them deploy their service. This is the fastest way for us, I think. Yes, sir.
I think just an update on Project Denver. You announced it 2 years ago, and you said 2 years ago that it will be ready in 2 years. So how is Project Denver now?
About 2 more years. Project Denver, of course, as you know, is intended to be 64-bit ARM. And 64-bit ARM was only recently announced. And so it was announced because the architecture was complete, and now that the architecture is complete, we can go and implement Denver. If we implemented ARM Denver too soon, then it would have been incompatible with ARM 64-bit V8. And so we didn't want to be incompatible. I want to extend the ARM ecosystem. I don't want to create a separate ecosystem. And so, we're working as hard as we can now that the specification and the architecture is complete, to complete Denver.
Is it possible for third parties to build a Shield compatible device?
Well, first of all, Shield is pure Android. So by definition, everyone's compatible. This is compatible with Samsung Galaxy S3.
Can they access the service from the service provided by Nvidia desktop PCs?
That is impossible. The connection between PC, the GeForce PC, and Shield requires very complicated software, and you know, I don't expect that it would work with other devices yet, and so I haven't. Bob asked me whether I was saying that Denver will be two more years. I was just joking. We're trying to finish Denver as fast as we can, and so Okay.
That would have been my headline. 2 more.
Yeah.
Why are you building a new Android device and not making it an accessory for my S3 that I already have, or my PC? I just plug it. I don't need to get home to use it. I can use my phone.
Yeah.
Why make it a new device, another one?
Yeah. It's kind of like, why did you buy a tablet? It's exactly the same thing. Why not just use the S3? There's nothing wrong with the S3. The S3 has a very large screen. You could just zoom in and read the text. And I do that. I zoom in on my HTC and read text. But when I get home, I just don't want to do all that. I just want to hold on to my Nexus 7 and read, and enjoy what I do on my Nexus 7. I also, if I'm traveling, I still carry both devices. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to drain the battery of my phone. My phone is a communications device, and when somebody needs to reach me, the last thing I want to know is that I used up all the battery playing a game. And so I think the answer is we want to have one common digital life, one common cloud, and they're all unified, all connected, all the same. But for some people, you may enjoy a dedicated device depending on what you're doing. There's going to be an Android TV. Why not just watch TV on your phone? Well, because sometimes when you're watching TV, it's nice to lean back and have a device be a little bit bigger. And so I think Android is simply a platform and an operating system. There are going to be devices dedicated to all kinds of special needs. However, the phone market will be the largest, of course. We all need a phone. I think we all need a tablet. I think in 5 years' time, everyone will have a tablet because you can't read the news without it. Okay, so tablet will become essential for reading. If you're a kid growing up, and let's say you're 5 years old, you're going to, between 5 and 12, the only computer you're ever going to know is a tablet. You won't see a PC for a long time. So tablets, of course, will become essential computing devices. However, will everybody have an Android TV? Some people will. Will everybody have an Android gaming device like Shield? Some people will. It's a niche market.
I apologize, we have time for just one more question. Is there someone who hasn't asked one? Yes, please.
I'd like to ask about Shield too.
Yes.
And you mentioned about Sony or gaming devices makers, like Sony or Nintendo, are weren't really strong, but they were struggling. They are struggling now, and are you gonna compete with them, or is there any way you can cooperate with them?
We do cooperate with all of them. And Nvidia is a computer graphics technology company, and game consoles require great computer graphics. And they're wonderful partners of ours, and we will continue to work with them. I think they're struggling now not because of competition, they're struggling now because they're between platform transitions. And I expect that their next generation platforms are going to be really wonderful, and there will be a market for them. We're not really competing with them at all. We're trying to build a device, an Android gaming device, for Android users. We're not trying to replace Mario. We're not trying to compete against Halo. The reason why you buy Xbox is because you want to play Halo. The reason why you buy Nintendo is because you love Mario. And so that is not what we're trying to solve. What we're trying to solve is, if you are an Android user and you enjoy playing games, this could be a device that can bring more joy to you while you're sitting somewhere and really wants to spend some time playing games. So very, very different.
Do you have any availability in price for the deal?
We like to get this into production in Q2, and so we hope that for spring we should be in production surely before this holiday. Which holiday are you thinking about?
2013's holiday. This year's holiday.
We will miss Chinese New Year. Which is the next holiday, as you know. We will probably miss Golden Week, but maybe that's close. But definitely, of course.
Any estimated price?
We haven't decided on the price yet, but it would be like a Android device. Okay, it's not a razor blade model. The console is not subsidized, and then the money is made on the games. Notice our approach is a Android gaming device, open platform, and the games are free to very affordable, and so very, very different model.
From the Nvidia brand?
It will be Nvidia brand, yeah.
Folks, we need to end now. I'm sorry for that, but thank you for coming.
Thank you all for coming, and apologize for speaking so slowly. Last night was too many meetings, and it was great to see all of you. Thank you for coming, and I know that this is a very, very different story for NVIDIA, and so I appreciate you telling the story on our behalf. Thank you.